But I came Wednesday after Wednesday and sometime in between, and the inner struggle began to really tear me apart. Because here I lived in an isolated world of African Americans and even carried that same concept to Kansas State University. But these brothers were tugging at me to pull me into a whole nother place, a whole nother sphere, a whole nother world. And I'd get there and I'd listen to their discussion about Vietnam on both sides. And I'd listen to their perspectives about the world and about women's issues and civil rights issues. And slowly they were pulling me in, slowly they were pulling me in, till I came to a point where I told my family, my racist father, and my family that I was going to pledge a predominantly white fraternity. I was so convinced, so overwhelmed that this was what I was supposed to do. You see, I came to a point where I said, I can't pass this up. These are great men. These are guys that are going someplace. These are guys that are doing something. These are guys that have vision for their future, vision for where they're headed. And I, coming from cotton-picking family, I didn't want to go back to the cotton fields of Oklahoma. I knew what stood behind me. So my push was to associate with men of character, associate with men of distinction, to go someplace, even if it meant I was alone. I went. So I sat where you're sitting. I contemplated what you're contemplating just now, but I embraced it. I embraced it. I embraced it so much I even went snow skiing with my pledge class. And brothers, that's not something my brothers do on Christmas break. But I jumped in it. I went, didn't go right to the slopes right away, got on the tram and went up, and my brothers were teasing me, calling me, you know what we call each other when we don't have the courage to go do something fresh. Those words, you know, we have women here, so I want to be distinguished. So I came back and joined them and went up to the slope, never having skied before in my life. Got up to the top, asked the operator, how do you get off of here? And he said, when you get to this line, ease off the slopes, off your chairlift. So I got to that point, and I eased off my chairlift, and I was like black lightning going down that mountain. It was an incredible weekend. It was an incredible experience. But that was only the beginning of what DU introduced to me. So for my honeymoon, we spent 3 weeks. I took my wife snow skiing. And we went snow skiing every winter since then. And I've even introduced my boys to it, because that's not something boys do in the hood. So I want my boys to understand this is part of the world. This is another side of the world. But that's only a small part of what DU means. Only a small part. Well, man, your lives are changing. The world around you is changing. Everything that you hear and see, even the breeze in the air, signals that life around us is changing. Governments are changing. The economy is changing. Issues in Alberta, issues in Ohio, they're forcing even you to say, where am I going? What's my future? Where am I headed? I want you to understand, this is not a social place for you. This is not a place for you to just say, I want to go join a country club and kind of hang out and do the kind of things that other fraternities are doing. This is not it. You want to join that one? You're in the wrong place. You want to be in an organization where men are going somewhere, where men believe that they have a destiny that's not fulfilled unless they are the leader? You're in the right place. You want to be around men who say, average is not good enough for me? You want to be around men who say, I'm going to spend this Saturday night studying, not drinking. This is that fraternity. And I pray that your chapters are places where you're seeing that lived out. Well, man, what makes this 175 years so special and so wonderful is that there were a group of men in 1834 who, is, as it was said, were really tired of the secret stuff that was going on in the other fraternities. And it was their belief, their understanding, that things done in secret turned evil. Things done in secret are not always positive, not always good. They grew tired of the arrogance of these men parading around on campus in this one building, but parading around on campus. And allow me to just paint this picture, okay? These guys all wearing Abercrombie & Fitch jeans, polo shirts, and white polo shoes. The picture. And these guys standing, sitting on the outside saying, no, 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 no. That's not what I want. And understand, there were 191 undergraduates at Williams when these guys said that's enough. Now, that first night they're gathered, they're sitting in the room. They've lit the fireplace. They've lit some candles because there's no electricity. They're sitting there and they're talking about this could possibly be a revolution. We could be scorned. We could be talked about. We could be set aside. So one of the leaders said, if anybody in here is afraid, if anybody in here wants to jump, anybody in here who doesn't want to be a part of a revolution, you don't want to be part of something different, you don't want to be part of something unique and special, you can leave the room. No one left. They were that committed to doing something different. And I loved it because they used the word, this is paramount to a revolution. And in that revolution, I got chills reading it because I saw me. No, they didn't think an African American then would join. But they certainly thought of something so different, so unique that I could embrace it. I could walk inside that. And so when I read it, I said, yes, this is the revolutionary organization that I thought it was. And it is. Well, they came together around some principles. And these are the principles I want to share with you tonight, because I got to get you to understand. You must not walk out of here. You must not go back to Alberta. You must not go back to Ohio unless you fully understand what you're embracing. You see, they came to understand friendship and how important friendship is. Friendship's about brothers. It's about men. And in this culture, we're going to redefine, reshape some of that male friendship, male bonding. Because we're going to be challenged to embrace men of all backgrounds, men of all cultures, men of sexual identity. We're going to be forced, we're going to be encouraged, we're going to be motivated into that, to embrace men, real friendship. Not the drinking, carousing friendship, but the open friendship where I talk about my innermost fears. That was friendship that I saw in that early group. They also talked about or wanted to encourage culture. You're going to define that for yourself. But the culture they understood was broad thinking, a look at different perspectives, understanding that we're not fully educated until we've experienced the arts, Blake. Until we've embraced, Michael, different points of view, political points of view, philosophical points of view. That's culture. And we understand it and we accept it. They came to understand and want to build and encourage character. And I so think it's important that we stop and say, character counts. In a culture, men, where a governor would fly to Argentina to be with the mistress, Father's Day weekend, and then return home, and the first person on TV he apologizes to is his mistress. That's not the character I'm talking about. Somehow in the back of your minds, in the psyche there, that place of letting down, saying it's okay. No, that's not what these men founded this fraternity on, and I dare guess how they would respond. Even to the quarterback from Tennessee, who some say so skillfully had an affair that even his wife knew nothing about. Gentlemen, that's not character. That's not manhood. It's the worst form of boyhood we can ever imagine. We speak about character. Being men whose lives, even in private, can be reviewed, can be understood, can be judged. The final principle is justice. Justice is fairness. Justice is saying in all of your dealings and all that you do, that you promise, you pledge, you commit to implementing justice to family, friends, neighbors, and even people you don't know. It's returning the $2 that you were overpaid when you went to the grocery store. It's giving the cabbie $1 or $2 tip. It's saying to somebody you see as being given grief, excuse me, that's not the proper way to talk to that elderly woman. That's justice. That's fairness. That's appropriate behavior. So, man, these are things that charged me when I came to understand this fraternity. I saw it living out right before me. And I said, I can't pass this up. This is what I want. So tonight, as we talk about this changing world, I beg you to understand the world begs for men who understand friendship, who understand culture, whose character, not perfect, we all struggle, but who say, I want to do better. I want to grow. I want to mature. I want to be the best man I can be. And justice. The world seeks justice. So my charge to you, seek friendship and seek open friendship, not just male bonding, friendship where you share your heart. So that when you find yourself thinking about an affair somewhere, you say to your brother, I'm thinking something inappropriate, and your brother says to you, let's talk this through. There has to be another way to deal with this. And you process with your brother your deep personal issues. I charge you to go after culture. You understand Canadian culture, Michael. And Blake, you understand American. But it doesn't stop with these two wonderful nations. What about the rest of the world? Can we understand the Chinese, the Indian, the Japanese, the Australian? Can we understand points of view? Can we even wrestle about health care and understand both points of view and then come back someplace in the middle and say, okay, here we are. And then character. I charge you to work it out and let justice be your foundation. Brothers, I've been so moved by this book that Brother Craig wrote for us that I made sure both of you have a copy of it. And I charge you to read at least the first 5 chapters, because you got to understand the bravery and the courage of these men to do something revolutionary. You must understand that. And I say to you, for the 21st century, in you, let the revolution begin. Let the revolution begin. And I say to my brothers, as we commence the anniversary of our 75th anniversary, let the revolution begin.